We're here trying to like, we're using our knowledge.
You know, this is very educational. Yo, you know what you use that for? That thing that you keep putting it up. Krejan, pick your can up. Now pick that thing up. Okay? Now open it. Et voila. Now put your beer in there. You
Oh,
You mean you didn't even know that?
I thought it was a coaster too.
That's not a coaster. I said this so many times.
Well, that's fucking genius. Yo, we need those.
Little shawty looking better with no makeup. She brighten up my days when she wake up. I know the mother got the same stuff, but I'ma keep it real, there ain't no fake love till our day come. Little baby wants.
All right, boys. So welcome in the NSL house.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Thanks for having
Yeah,
us.
definitely. So as you guys see, we have guests today. Dusty and Bean are back there. We had a side camera, so you get all the background stuff today. Yeah, we didn't have enough mics for everyone, so that's why they're doing Osman's job today. But yeah, KingBlock Entertainment in the house. Okay, so if you guys want to introduce yourselves real quick before I introduce you guys.
Oh, we're gonna go this way.
Yeah, go that way.
Hi, it's your boy Kaz Montano. I'm a singer-songwriter from Montreal, and I do mostly R&B stuff. And yeah, I make music.
So what's up, guys? I'm Is KingBlock from KingBlock. I'm an artist, some management stuff.
What it do? I go by the name of Quote E. I'm a host, artist, rapper, producer, whatever you need, you feel me? And as well, helping with KingBlock in the management side alongside my boy DBLR out here. You know, it's a doozy for us. So be glad to be here to share some knowledge with y'all.
Yeah, so thanks for being here, first and foremost. So these are individuals I met through music, obviously a couple years ago, Sky being the first one. Those who've been following my music for a while, Wishlist is a song that we made 2-ish years ago. When I was just kind of starting-ish music, Sky showed love, and we met through IG, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
And that's how we built a report, and then he had his whole team with him, so that's how I indirectly met them eventually. Fast forward to now, I had him on. I wanted to have him on for a while, and it's good timing because they just recently invited me at one of their events to perform. And so that's when we decided to lock in, have them on the pod.
That shit was crazy. That shit was crazy. Y'all missed out.
Yeah. So that was late June. Now we're in July. Today, really the focus, obviously you saw they're all individual artists themselves, but the KingBlock entertainment aspect is what I want to focus on, and I think you guys will find the most value from. The reason why I get people in from different niches is because I get a lot of questions from people in the music world that I don't necessarily know the answer to. So I try to bring in different, branch off into different fields that I don't necessarily know as well. And my forte being more social media, all that aspect. But guys like you could bring something that I can't offer to an audience that wants to learn from it. So that's essentially why I have you guys here today. I think this is where I want to start. So obviously you guys all have your own individual music, like careers and aspirations as individuals, but as a collective, it's a whole different story. So I want to see, before we get into the deep stuff, maybe more introductory stuff, how did KingBlock come apart? How did it start? What's your aspiration for it is? Like if you had a mission statement for KingBlock, for someone who doesn't know anything, what we're talking about, who you are not from Montreal, what do you guys represent? Why are you a collective? And how it all came about? Whoever wants to jump on that, go ahead.
Yo, Kaz, go ahead. You go ahead and tell them how we started KingBlock.
Well, I would say I want to talk about our message first. So I feel like our message to the people is more like no matter what background, no matter where you're from, you could make it. It doesn't matter where you're from, your dreams, you could make it. You could be from the poorest spot, you could make it. And I feel like that's our message. Mainly. How we started, I think I'm gonna let this guy do this one because he knows the story best. I was there, but he explains it the best.
It kind of ties back to what he was saying about how it's this whole message of kind of like it doesn't matter where you came from, it doesn't matter who you are. Put your mind to it, you can make anything happen, right? And I feel like that was the mentality that we all came into when we started this. You know what I mean? Like we were like 16 when we first started KingBlock. That's when I first met Kaz. That's when me and Joseph, who's not here, JM Biz is not here right now, but it was us three. We all met up for the first time just through mutual friends. I feel like it was a perfect moment, and I feel like it was meant to happen. But us three met up, and it was literally like we just clicked, and we were like, "Yo, we gotta do something. like we gotta make. We didn't really know what we wanted to make,
Hmm.
but we were just like, yo, we need to make something out of this. Like, yo, you can sing, I can organize, and he can produce. Like, and just with that, we're like, yo, we can do so much off of that. You know what I mean? And then throughout over the years, we built the team. You know, we got got a whole bunch of others. We got Zan who's back there. You can't see him, but shout out Zan.
Shout out Zan.
You know,
Need a
Shout out
fourth
Zan.
camera next time.
you know what I mean? But
That's
yeah,
love,
like
bro.
we're a pretty big team now. Like we're I think we're what, like 9, 10 people. We're a pretty big
Yeah.
team. Everyone specializes in something, but we came a long way, you know. So if we can do it, I feel like anyone could do it.
Yeah.
Going back to what you said, you know. So
And this is coming from people that we're still learning in the process. We're still growing. We're saying we're not there yet, but we definitely gotten to a point in our careers and in our timeline altogether to really experience certain fundamentals. Feel me? Because running a collective, at least for the years that I've been with KingBlock, that came like just like a year or so after you guys started. Over the years, just seeing how much things have developed and how much like organization actually has to go through and how much actual like thinking, like you can't just go and act and let's say quote unquote drop a track or just go and perform at this person's not like this person's show or whatever. Like you really actually need to strategize your stuff. Feel me?
yeah.
And like
Yeah.
that's something heavily that we've
I feel like
learned.
even in the beginning, like we messed up a lot.
Oh yeah,
There's
for
a lot
sure,
we
for
were
sure.
unorganized. We didn't know what we were doing. We
Yeah.
were cocky.
Which
We'd go perform on shows and we wouldn't know what we're doing.
is what I want to get into today,
Yeah.
right? Because you might have not only artists looking at this, but also guys who want to go into event planning and stuff that might want to learn from
Yeah.
the steps and mistakes you guys have made. Obviously, mistakes come from anything. That's how you learn. That's how you improve. So that's really what I want to deep dive on. So yeah. Now, one thing I did forget to introduce. So as I said before, Bean and Dusty are back there. When we had Zach's on, you guys remember the segment where Bean cooked up a beat on the spot. He's deep in his element right now. We'll show the side cam. So 15-minute timer. How it works, if you don't know what this is that they cook up on the spot. And then at the end of this pod, we're going to let these guys freestyle on whatever Bean and Dusty are cooking up on. So timer's off. We'll let them cook, and we're just going to keep talking. I just wanted to introduce the statement because I saw they just got going.
Yo, just real quick before you even continue, I gotta give you a big shout out on like how you run your production, man. You guys are crazy. You guys are
Yeah,
actually
yo,
freaking
bro.
Yo,
crazy.
thank you.
Big ups
Hell
to you,
yeah.
man.
Thank
Big round
you.
of applause for
Appreciate
that.
that.
That's crazy.
It's very like DIY, like very homemade, very,
Yeah.
you know, we're in the basement. But considering that, it's
Dude,
we
still.
make it work still.
It's a
still,
nice
you-
cozy vibe. I love it.
Exactly.
It is, and that's what
it's
we're
fun.
going for. You know, like you see, we don't have the perfect equipment and setup, but given like our resources,
Word
like
up.
we're just having fun with it, bro.
No, exactly. Everything's
Like-
genuine with y'all. I can see that and appreciate y'all.
Yeah, like we'll do internal episodes where it's just the boys and we talk about life and music and questions that we get, but then we'll have guests when we want to learn more about different industries. Like I was saying before, that's why, you know, it's cool. So the family gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Like NSL is not just us and the boys. Like primarily it is, but that's what I was trying to say at the show too. It's bigger than that. It's like a mindset. It's a family. It's a community,
Yeah.
right? And so like you guys indirectly are just part of the family, just like they are. That's really
Word
what
up,
it
same
is. So
thing,
thank
you know what I'm saying? It's all
Appreciate it,
just you out here on the KingBlock fam, baby.
Exactly. It's
Once
all
we-
mutual. Exactly.
Once we start working, once we start working, it's not just collaborations. We're creating on a bond, bro. We're
Yeah.
doing out here. We
Chemistry.
trying to push each other out here. Elevate
Which
all together.
I think the together aspects are most important, right? Like we could
Yeah.
do so much more together. We can accomplish so much more together than individually,
Amen.
right? And there's a lot of egos. I'm sure you guys have dealt with a lot of egos. That's something we'll get into. In the music world, there's a lot of egos, right? Whether it's getting a feature from an artist, booking an artist for a show, all the logistics that go behind that. I feel like in my experience, those that have the biggest egos, they end up like restricting themselves a lot for their potential, right? Because they miss out on opportunities or this or that because of that ego. And until you're at a certain level, I think it's quite immature to just like have that ego. But you guys have never had that at all. Like even when I was like tiny, when I got to know Sky, I had just started making music. Our stuff wasn't that clean in regards to quality and stuff, but he saw deeper than that. And that's really important. And I think that's why we maintain a good friendship till now. And now that's just expanded. So
For
it's
real.
dope, man. And we're all from the same city. We're all trying to accomplish not the same goal, but the overarching, like on a macro level, it's still like the same kind of
Yeah.
mindset that we all have,
Exactly.
which I think is what makes us get along
We
so
share
well.
the same ambitions.
Exactly.
Sure.
Okay. So I don't even know where we want to start because there's so many aspects even we're already talking about that I want to get into. But let's get into let's start it this way. You guys, when you guys met, you guys were making music individually. You decided, yo, let's make this collective, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, what got you specifically into the interest of going into event planning? Now, rather than just be me, for example, who would get approached by this person, that event planner, and just go and get gigs that way, I'm feeling I might know why the answer, but I would like to know, they would like to know, and I would like to know what made you go that direction, and also like how it was at first. Like, were you guys absolutely lost? How intimidating was it? Really, because there's a lot of people here that'll probably get into that, right? Event planning and stuff. So, what are like the fundamental steps that you might have forgotten by now, but at the very beginning that kind of got that foundation set? That's what I want to learn. Because even me, if I wanted to plan an event tomorrow, there's a lot that I wouldn't think of each other.
Yo, that's you, Sky. You know, you know.
I have something I want to say, but then I'll let these guys kind of.
I do want to say this though.
Yeah,
when
go
we
ahead.
first got into it, it was like we did a lot of pay to play type shows.
Yeah, you know, that's exactly. Yeah, that's exactly.
It was mostly like you would pay a lot of money just to go perform in front of like a bunch of like people's parents, you know, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So we weren't having it, you know. So eventually we're like, okay, like we grew out of it, and we're like, yo, let's try to book our own venues. Let's do this ourselves. And obviously, in the beginning, it was a shit show, complete shit show. We didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
But like I think over time we found out what we did wrong, and
Dude.
we noted it down, and we improved every single time we ran the events.
Now,
Yeah.
And
this,
that's how we got
I'm
better.
sorry to interrupt you. I do this a lot because I always like you present good points. The pay to play framework is really popular in smaller artists. I see it
Yeah.
like I've been approached like that by organizers and stuff that do that. What's your experience been with those? Yeah, because I've given one a shot a couple years ago. The individual was running it. He was a beauty. There was nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
It's just basically everyone depends on other people bringing people, and no one ends up bringing people, and so you just end up paying for performing in front of the other artists, right?
They even know you.
So
Yeah. So would you recommend that to like an artist, let's say, who has never performed and he's just looking for that? Please, I want to get you guys' take on that.
Honestly, I normally I wouldn't, but because we gained so much experience from it and we met so much different people and we see how like you know, that was our first taste of the industry if you think about it. So I feel like it's a good experience, but if you have the option not to do it, don't do
you
it.
know, don't do it. Don't do
Just
it.
Don't do it.
Personally, on my on what I've seen, there's many different ways to get into
Performing.
like not just performing, but getting the knowledge of the performance industry. You feel me?
Yeah.
That way is cool because we're understanding not just an industry level, but more of a mainstream feel. So unless if you're making mainstream music, or unless if you're actually like giving out something that not just one specific crowd could hear, then I'd say don't do it. If you're able to cater many different type of audiences, then go ahead, do it, because you might actually gain a certain type of, you know, traction off of it, depending on what you make, obviously, because a lot of these events is really just like, you know, like parents coming to see their children, you know, uncles, a 1-2 friend from high school, whatever, and it's no big deal to a sense. It is to the artist, of course, but you put in a very general aspect and business form, it's really just not that big of a deal. You're better off chasing underground, and if not clubs in the city, because then you get people that are consistently going to these type of events, and the more and more you put yourself in those events, the more and more you're able to build a traction off of that. Therefore, you're able to also learn on how certain shows do, you know, certain organizers, what their mistakes are, you know, are going on. What didn't you like from how they organized the show? And I'd say that's somewhat how we kind of experienced things, and as well grew on our own events, pretty much.
So what would you recommend to, because I'm sure a lot of kids watching this wish they had the opportunity to perform at clubs and little shows like that,
Yeah.
but they don't get the invites. They don't know how to get that first gig, right? So I think a lot of them, out of desperation, just to kind of break that ice as a first step, they go the pay to play
Yeah.
format, right? Because they have no other option. What would you recommend? Like even Tajiz was asking like me recently, who's a friend of you guys met last week, like for an artist who's looking for their first show, looking for their first gig, that don't want to go the pay to play route, what would you recommend? How is the easiest way or the most realistic way to start getting booked?
I would say like put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Post yourself on social media, get in contact with organizers, just know like who associates with who, so like you know how to network around, you know.
Mainly use the internet to your advantage. you guys are watching this on your phones, right?
No shit.
You know, you guys are on your laptops. You know, you guys are always on social media. Like all of us, even right now, my phone's blinking. I'm going on social media. Like, dude, use the internet to your advantage. The more and more you're able to build traction anywhere, it's gonna be easier for you to get bookings anywhere. Anyhow, might even get agents coming through and just telling you, hey, open
Use
up with this person.
hashtags in your city too. Like how people found out about us. It was mostly because like Montreal hip hop or like hip hop Montreal. We'd post a lot of these type of hashtags. That's how Zan actually found us.
Matter of fact,
So,
yeah.
yeah. I think the hashtags do.
Low
help a
key,
lot.
that's probably how I met Sky.
There you go.
Because when I
Definitely.
started my IG, I
Hashtags.
was trying to look for like Montreal artists because I knew no one in the music scene in Montreal.
Word.
So on IG, I would look up like Montreal artists, Montreal singers, stuff like that. That's probably how I came across.
There you
it.
go.
100%.
There you
I
go.
don't
You guys
really-
hear it.
I don't
Yeah.
even know how we met, but it has to be the hashtags,
yeah.
right? Because there's no like exact explanation.
Because I
behind
didn't
it.
meet you in person until I met you and I already knew you. To
Yeah,
like,
just like I feel like I just knew you somehow.
yeah, I know, straight up, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a great answer.
Use the internet to your advantage. As you see, somehow builds connection.
And
I
it's
know.
free, and it's like anyone from anywhere in the world could access it, like
Exactly.
within
Yeah, you
seconds.
know,
It's an
exactly.
opportunity that never existed in the previous generation.
And it
Seriously.
doesn't hurt as well to send out personal email, send out personal
Mm.
messages.
For real.
Go ahead and chase that.
For real.
One no doesn't mean one no for today doesn't mean that tomorrow you'll get the same answer. Feel me?
That's true.
So don't worry about that. Just go ahead and keep sending it out. Just
Yeah.
send it out. Go ahead where you need to put on social media. Like even us right now, we just started learning that as well. It's still a still very growing process for us in
Yeah.
terms of, you know, social media traction and building their image up and stuff.
Yeah.
But once we get that, and once anyone gets that, I'm pretty sure you are able to gain that following for people to want to get you into their shows, into bookings.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the most accessible way I could tell you guys. It's
Definitely.
right there on your palm.
I like the direction this is taking because this is really what I would want to focus on long term in this conversation. But one thing too that I want to add to you guys, and if you agree or disagree, let me know. But one thing that I would also recommend for someone who's like looking to just get to know people in the music scene and stuff like that, use social media, but also go to these live shows, go to
Yes.
these like
Mhm.
networking events in person.
Absolutely.
Like that's why Tajiz comes everywhere with me because he wants to meet other singers, other event organizers,
Word.
to make those connections. Because guess what? If they like you as an individual when they meet you, they're more likely to actually go check out your music. And guess what? If your music's half decent, next time they'll be like, oh, you know what? Taji's a nice kid. Let's give him a shot.
Oh, let's see. Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
For real.
So
That's pretty much
I
what we
agree.
did too with our lineups. Pretty much what we did. We heard them, we seen them, we went out and actually see what they were about. We said, yeah, we should get this person on. We should get this person on.
yeah,
Especially recently with our last show, best example is actually K-Rhyme. Shout out K-Rhyme. This guy, we didn't know what type of music he did until we had to go see it ourselves.
yeah,
Once we seen him the first time, we're like, all right, we need this guy's element. This guy's fired. Like, we need this.
yeah,
Straight up. And I feel like there's a big difference too between like you can see how someone is as an artist, like via just streaming their music, but them as a performer could be something totally different. you
Yeah,
know? Like
100%.
K-Rhyme, if I
Yeah.
heard his music versus him perform, I might not even know that was him because it's so like he has two very different sides. you
Yeah,
know? He has
yeah.
I feel like he has an artistic side and he has like a more musical side. Like it's a bit of everything.
Word.
true. Yeah, there's so many aspects I want to get into. Okay, since we're touching on internet and all that stuff, social media, this is what I want to get into first. Then I want to get into the performing thing. But in regards to, we're saying social media is so important, this and that, which it is, obviously. What extent, because this is where I think you and I differentiate. When I say you, meaning KingBlock as a whole, and I, meaning NSL as a whole, we're pretty good. Our forte, I'd say, would be social media, our online presence, building an audience online. That's where we focus, and that's where we've seen success outside of music, obviously. You guys, from my perspective, is that you guys got the real life, like the event, like the tangible. You guys got that on lock. Now,
100%.
I think that's why we complement each other well, is because we have strengths in different areas.
Yeah.
Now, what do you guys think is because it's very hard to find a balance between having like growing a following online, really growing that online community, but then also being around in your city at those smaller underground shows, but that bring you just as much value, just different. What do you guys think is, if you had to pick one, meaning like in real life events, real life networking shows, all that stuff, or just social media, just growing online. I'm at that point where I'm trying to find a balance between the two, and I do find that I struggle. And it's also like once you get so deep on one side, it's hard to find the rational to kind of go against what's working. Meaning me, it's going so well on social media that like sometimes I find myself streaming longer on TikTok and avoid an event because it's going so well online.
Yeah.
So if you guys had to pick one nowadays, which one would you think is more important? Because obviously, like we're saying, this internet thing didn't exist for a couple generations older than us. So to them, like some older heads, they don't get it. They think it's all about going to the local show, this and that. Do you think that like those live shows and networking events still bring enough value to make it in it as an independent or upcoming artist? Like how,
That's a
I know
good
my
question.
question is deep
It's a
and it's
very
like
good
thick,
question.
but like,
I say yes, because you never know who you're gonna run into nowadays. You know? I think it brings a lot more value.
I think it also depends on. There's a lot of factors. I think it depends on where you're where you are. Because in Montreal, truth be told, I feel like in Montreal the social media presence is more important. Because I feel like you can have. There really is a differentiation. You know, you'll have a big social media following and no one will come to your shows. But I feel like in Montreal it just tends to be like that, where people tend to not be to be a little bit more skeptical
Yeah.
about, okay, is this guy actually good?
Yeah.
Well, whatever. Like they'll support you online, but they won't support you as much in person. You know. So if you can really, I feel like grow yourself like a social media presence and be known like that, and then you take your music elsewhere, then you'll be more likely to actually be able to, you know, get shows and get fans, maybe in areas that are like other than Montreal type of thing. You know, because I feel like Montreal is just tough for that. I don't. It's just a
That's a
city
good
like
answer,
that. You know?
actually.
Tough
Yeah.
crowd.
Just to
Yeah,
add
yeah.
a little bit on that. Like I love my city. I love Montreal. Don't get me wrong. Like Montreal's a amazing place. It's so many cultures, so much art, so much music, you know. But when it comes to up and coming artists, a lot of their quote unquote fan base that we gather, right? Don't give a fuck until you get mainstream.
There you go.
Montreal is such a follower city.
Yeah. I agree.
Dude, like if once there's a trend, we're hopping on it. There's already something. Like, for example, I know it's a little out of music, but
that's fine.
dude, Pokeball started out in California.
I was not expecting you to talk about Pokeballs,
Dude,
man.
there's freaking Pokeball shops every 3 streets downtown now. Like
is true.
it's just so like
I
it
see what you're
irritates me
saying.
so much because like you have so much talent, you have so much in your own city to really offer out to the world.
Yeah.
Why are you gonna just contain that and like only intake?
Yeah.
Output, go and output. That's our problem with this city. But just to as well come back to more what you were saying. Yeah, it really depends on the area, but as well, social media will always be top one for me nowadays because we're in an
Yeah.
age and era of the internet, bro. Everything's at reach.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm more likely to see you on TikTok than to see you at your show.
For sure.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
more
true.
likely to hear that one remix that you did on Instagram than hear it on the radio.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's like that.
Like just
I hate to
statistically
say it.
speaking.
I hate to say
yeah.
it because I love going to shows and I
Yeah.
love supporting the underground scene. I love supporting even big live concerts, like just going out to see, for example, you know, fucking Kanye or some shit. I'd love to go to things like that and network, but it's so hard.
Yeah,
It's so hard because of the containment that we just place on this city itself.
For sure. And I feel like for us, we kind of experienced a problem when we first started doing like music, actually, because we were like, I feel like we were already thinking on like a really big scale, and we were like, okay, you know what? We have to make it like right away. So we were performing, trying to reach that status of like, okay, we're superstar performers.
You quickly realized that wasn't how it went
I
down.
mean, yeah,
huh?
we didn't even have songs. We were just performing. We would make a song
Dude.
just for the show, and then
Dude.
we, you know what I mean?
Dude,
Yeah.
listen. We knew we had about a month to get the show
That's
done.
crazy.
Yeah.
We knew we needed to have tracks. We knew we needed to have sales. So we're all thinking that for 3 weeks straight. Then the last week, we're like,
rush everything.
all right, let's make the song. All right, let's finally sell tickets. All right, let's do
Yeah,
this.
you know what I mean? It's just
It was funny. It was
horrible.
It was amazing. To
Sounds
be honest,
hectic.
because
It sounds
like,
hectic,
one,
bro.
One, it's like, wow, we work well under pressure. Two, why are you guys always putting yourself under pressure for?
Yeah, why are you doing this to yourself, bro?
Yeah,
It's
so
making
I-
your life more
Yeah,
complicated.
yeah. It was, but it's still a loving experience, I'd say.
exactly. I
Loving
feel like in a
experience.
sense, like over time, we kind of learned that okay, it's not going back to what you were saying. I feel like it's important for us maybe to have a balance. Like okay, we need to push out
Yeah.
our content and then focus on okay the performance aspect.
Yeah.
Okay, like not too much performance when there's not enough content, or vice versa. To be honest,
Vice
like, we
versa.
don't
Yeah,
wanna-
I
you know
think
what
that's why the balance aspect is like a tough one to hit, but also
Exactly.
it's like really important because I've seen it more recently. You guys are focused more in a direction of putting out your own music now. Like you hadn't released a single in like what it was 2 years or something,
literally.
right? So I see you guys slowly doing that, and I think it's important. But yeah, it's tough to let's say about it being here. Bean's got to go. He's got a golf game. This guy's joining the PGA apparently.
All right.
Bean quits NSL for the PGA. Lived through it.
I want,
Literally.
I want nothing but birdies.
Yeah, birdies all day.
Birdies.
See ya, Bean.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
fam.
So yeah, they just finished up cooking there, eh, Dusty? Okay, so later in the segment we'll have fun with that. I have my speaker and everything. Where were we? The balance thing, yeah. The balance thing I think is where we're all at. And it's funny because I feel like I'm coming at a place where I'm going from like social media trying to balance towards the real life, and you guys are
That's the
coming from
opposite,
the
yeah.
opposite side.
Yeah.
Super true.
And yeah, they're both challenging, but they're both rewarding. So
Yeah.
it's just a question of time management and just getting comfortable too with things, right? Like I'm so comfortable on social media now, it's crazy. But like in person, it's just like I don't have I don't have that instinct of like, oh, what shows are going on or
Word.
what event could I attend? You know, it's just
Word.
like if I get invited somewhere, I'll consider it, but I'm not out there looking for it.
Word.
Where like now I'm like, okay, I need to start making more of an effort.
Just know everyone got their own flavor. You feel me?
Mm,
Like everyone got their own way of going about things.
that's true.
Find the one that fits you the best. Because we, as much as like we're comfortable where we're at right now, we went through a lot of different type of like ways of organizing, ways of thinking throughout our music and throughout our performances and throughout our event organizations. Like we couldn't find anything until like probably what last year's show, 4040 Block Party. We finally found something that we're able to be like, all right, we could routinely do this, you know? We
Yeah.
could routinely like do this, and we're getting the grasp. We have the flow. We know exactly, you know. It just comes with time and just really getting to know yourself in that position.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's true because you do need to be a bit self-aware of like where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are. Because we're all like similar because we all make music and all that, but still we do all have those different kind of strengths and weaknesses. And
Exactly.
what's cool about you guys is that you guys move as a huge team. Like when I was trying to get you guys on, I was like, Sky, I love your whole team, but you can't all come to my house. Like, I can't have all 20 of you in
home
Mama's
invasion,
basement,
man.
bro. Yeah, Mama
Nah,
won't
would've
like
been-
that.
That would've been
Um,
hectic.
So, but I think the team aspect is an important one. And we have a team also, obviously, with NSL being smaller than yours and different. But how important do you think that team aspect is nowadays in regards to making it as a collective or even just individually as musicians? Like, there's a lot that goes into it, obviously. I know that. But we're a smaller team, but even us, sometimes it's kind of hard to make everyone's schedule work and this and that because they say like don't get into business with friends, right?
Yeah.
Because it's risky because it might ruin the friendship and stuff. Obviously you guys are friends, I see it. There's like a natural chemistry there that's outside of just you guys and business. But how do you guys differentiate the business and friendship side of it, and does it get hectic sometimes where you guys have arguments? How do you get, if you want to expand your team at KingBlock, how do you go by selecting, outsourcing, and like finding people to fill, like Zan, like finding people to fill those roles? Do you guys have like a team leader? Is it just you guys all have the same kind of level of influence on the overall brand? I'm very curious on that because we stretch it, obviously. I'm the face of the brand just because every brand needs a face, and I'm the one who's just more directly involved. Like I'm the one who does all our social media. I'm the vocalist, all these things. Not to say that they care less for NSL than I do, but it just so happens that I put more time into it. I'm more involved.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, you guys having a bigger team, I think it makes it even more difficult. We're
Yeah.
only 4, so it's kind of easy to have like the 3 and the 1. But you guys being so big, how do you move and how do you structure that? Is that something that just developed naturally? You know, you think big brands, they're always led by one person, like the Nelk Boys and stuff. You think of Kyle.
Yeah.
Like you always have like that one guy delegating all the roles. Not to say that the other roles are less important, but to have that kind of structure so that it sustains long term. Do you guys have that, or is that something you think about? Is that something you've already thought about? I'm curious, just as an insider.
We definitely do have that. First, I want to say, like, I feel like the hardest part about even just being in the team is to get everyone to agree with each other, because that's the one problem we really had in the beginning. Was we all wanted to make a certain type of music. Like, we're obviously all in the same group, but we all had different styles, and I was kind of like, oh no, let's go this direction, and Sky would be like, oh no, maybe we go this direction, but we all had our different flavors. So I do feel like that was the hardest part to overcome.
So how do you overcome that when he says like, yo, let's do this kind of music, this kind of show with this kind of audience, and you're like, nah, let's do that kind of show with this kind of audience, that kind of, like, how do you guys meet halfway?
We sort of meet in the middle. Yeah, I would say
Okay.
like we'd find a solution. We
Yeah,
always
but
do.
It's crazy because it wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
No,
Like-
I was just about to touch on that.
Yeah,
was about
like
to
I
say
feel
that.
like when you're with a team, like in the sense of KingBlock Entertainment, it was a really good question, by the way, Drew. I love that question. Over
Thanks, bro.
time, we've had so many different members, and the current lineup is not what it's always been. But keep in mind, when we started this, we were like 16, 17.
Yeah.
I understand.
You know what I mean? And a
Yeah.
lot of people in the team were, we were all kind of in the same age group. So much of like high school.
We're
Kids, man.
babies. We're
No,
babies.
but like-
we're growing and we're trying to think that we
Yeah.
got big boy pants on.
You know what I mean?
feel me?
But
So
not only that, but people end up having different aspirations, different degree
Yeah.
of passion
Yeah.
towards music, different degree of work ethic towards music.
exactly.
You know, life could change. Life could hit you and be like, oh, all of a sudden, like for me, it was just a hobby. I'd rather pursue football or whatever
For
else.
real.
Yes.
So then that's when it gets complicated, I think, when
Big
the
time,
vision gets a bit altered. But that's what's not concerning to me, but that's what kind of makes me ask the question is that since you guys are so many more involved, then that aspect must just be amplified like crazy.
Dude,
Yeah.
dude,
You know?
like from what I remember, because at one point, dude, we were like too much.
Too much.
We were way too much
Too
in the
much.
team.
Yeah.
And like shout out to everybody that participated over the years. Eh? You
For
guys
real.
are you guys are actually goated,
Yes.
regardless of the situations. But yo, we were way too much. We were
Yeah,
way too
yeah.
much. To the point we had a chef for no reason.
Yeah, we had a chef in the team. We're just like, what else?
But shout out to him though. Great
shout
chef.
out-
You know
shout
who you
out
are.
to-
My
You know
guy.
what I'm saying?
You guys really did think you were famous then.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
nah, it's not even that we think we
Hey,
thought.
Dusty's a chef, actually.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
Cookie
shit.
something else.
Okay, shout out.
We're taking applications.
You know what I'm saying?
Dusty,
You know?
I'm about to lose my producer. You guys. Damn.
not like we thought we were already the shit, but it's like we just thought that the more the merrier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, at the time it was really like, all right, yo, if we got this person, we got that person, we got that, we can't be stopped. Can't be stopped. We all thought that, at least, especially like the three of us, because like for some reason we just share the same brain. To a certain extent, but like it just everything just was too hard to really keep at a level, because as much as we thought everyone had the same vision as us, no one did. No one freaking did. And it wasn't really spoken of, because us, we're just kids, we're growing. We don't even know what the hell we want ourselves. We don't
Yeah.
even know
Yeah.
what direction we wanted.
Yeah.
And thank God we went through that like at such an early age, because now the way we work is like, all right, we have different within the whole thing, right? And because of that, and thanks to Sky as well, like, yo, as much as like we were 4 people actually delegating tasks, there's still someone delegating the task to the 3 others to delegate, right?
I see. Okay.
Shout out to Sky for that. His
man right
his organization, as he was saying, like, yo, if he hasn't like managed us properly, I don't know how the hell you got these skills, and I don't know how the hell you actually really like didn't stress so much on it. Like, yo, this guy's not bald yet. He's nowhere near
No, he's got-
balding.
he's got
You
hair on there,
know?
yeah, he's got hair.
He's nowhere near balding. So, but like, thanks to like those teams, we're really able to. All right, yo, listen, we understand your criteria. We understand that you're good at this. This is where you're gonna be put at, and you tell us what you want to fulfill within that, and then in that team, we'll try our best to make it happen. That's
Yeah.
that's mainly that I could, at the best that I could word it. That's mainly how we work now.
That's the best way to put it. And I feel like over time, the main problem, at least for me, was kind of like he was saying. Thank you, by the way. Appreciate it. I was trying to balance being in charge of management with being an artist.
That's
You know
tough.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hard because for me, I originally went into this like because I wanted to do music. I didn't really have a musical background or anything, but I was like, yo, I feel like through music, I can say things that I don't normally say in like a artistic way. You know what I mean? So I was like, I was kind of like getting into that position, like you're saying before. Like I didn't release something for like 2 years, and I was in that position of like, okay, am I management or am I an artist?
You,
You know
you
what I
had like
mean?
an identity crisis. a
Yeah,
little bit,
you
right?
know what I mean. And it was like it was too much to the point where I was like I'm losing my mind. What am I? What am I?
What am I in
doing?
it for all of a
Yeah,
sudden?
what am I here for? You know. So I feel like that's the reason. And even like delegating is hard when we're all artists. You know what I mean? It's like how are we
Yeah.
gonna have delegation if we're all trying to focus on music and then delegating this to this person, this to that person. You know. So I feel like over time, getting people like Zan,
Mm.
got Zach. Also, Zach is not here, but shout out to Zach. It's just getting all these different people delegate or dedicated to certain things,
Yeah.
so we can focus mainly on the artistry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not to say that we don't focus on, being in charge of the leadership when it comes to all of these areas, like whether that be the creative with Kaz, taking
Mhm.
charge of that, the management with me, or the production with JM. Like it's all about really the delegation and us still fulfilling that role of being, overseeing what's going on, but focusing mainly on the artistry type of thing. So it was over time, it was really needed that for us to just, experiment with, okay, is this the type of person we need to add to the team? What's too much? What's too little? A lot of the people we added were not, I feel like, weren't super necessary. Now obviously we're still a big team, but we got the right people. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I feel like getting the right people was essential, but something that we had just had to go through.
Exactly. And this is for like anybody that's doing anything in life. No matter what the hell you're doing, everything's gonna come with trial and error. Don't take the L as a loss, take it as a lesson. It's to level you up, to make sure that you understand that these past things that you've been doing, there's a one, two tweaks that needs to be, like we just learned,
Yeah.
and so just trial and error, no matter what it is, even in social media, if you don't know what you're exactly doing, trial and error, you'll get the hang of it. Go and learn off of it. And same thing, if you don't know what you're gonna perform, or if you don't know where to go to perform, just shoot your shot, trial and error.
Sure.
You're gonna get somewhere.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking about a team, like trial and error, trial and error as well. You don't really know until you try.
That's
but
true.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's what it is,
Yeah.
man. So just meet people, work with people, try to establish that connection, but don't be afraid to cut ties if it's needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
It-
find your balance too. Find your balance, because I remember at one point we actually lost our engineer, or our engineer took a break. So like I was literally recording everyone. Everyone was coming to my crib, and we had to set up the studio there, and it got to the point where it felt like work. And I'm supposed to be an artist. I'm supposed to love this shit.
Yeah.
But I started hating it. So
Yeah.
I definitely had to take a break. I had to get my mind right. But yeah, it's really important to just find that balance and find peace within yourself.
It's true. Yeah, that's what's tough when something takes life of its own. Like I felt like I was there recently with NSO where, meaning like if something that's not necessarily directly, because we all make music, right? So that's like our main thing. But if something else takes off and becomes the main thing, it's like, wait, hold up. You kind of get caught up on like, hey, do I double down on what's working? Because like technically I should, but it's also like you still want to pursue what you got in it for to begin with, right? Like me with NSL now, it's like we're really like diving deep into like the independent artist educational niche. People love to like learn from me and stuff. And it's like, I love teaching that, but I still do want my primary aspect to be music. Like some people come up to me like, yo, like, what's up? Like you're putting out less music now. And it's like, no, not really. It's just that you don't notice because there's so many other things going on.
Let me ask you a quick question. I know you're the one interviewing. Let me ask you a quick question. How much do you want it?
Well, I mean, I do. This is all I do.
How much do you yearn for it?
Yeah,
Is it a fucking fire in you?
Well, for
is it
me-
something that just keeps blazing in you? Is this something that you keep dreaming of? Is this something that you've always wanted to fulfill? If so, bro, the balance is gonna come.
Yeah.
Keep fucking focused.
No, you're right. You're right.
Keep
Well, that's why I try to tell myself too. I'm like, yo, like, just don't overthink. Just keep doing.
trust, man. Trust
Like it's
me.
like you'll figure it out. Like
Trust me.
if it's working for a reason. So just make.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I was down. 3 years ago, yo, boys could tell you, I was down.
Mm,
And certain things picked up for us because I put that focus of how much I really wanted and not to let go
Yeah.
of certain things. And absolutely fight for what's needed, bro, I'm here today.
Yeah.
I'm here today. I'll tell you this. I'm not supposed to be sitting here right now. Keep fucking moving. Just keep it going, bro.
Mhm.
Keep it going.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Real
yeah.
shit, real shit.
And that
And-
applies to each and every person listening.
Everybody,
does.
keep it
Definitely.
going, man.
Yeah,
keep
definitely.
it going.
And don't forget to enjoy the process. Because if
Real.
you
Yeah.
if you set your goal up here, it's like you're never gonna be happy till you reach it. You know, you
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
enjoy the little moments.
And you're gonna
you
get
could
burnt
always
out.
think of up
Yeah.
here, but no. There's step 1, step 2, and like each step is it's a moment for you to appreciate.
Yeah, and to learn and to
You
grow.
know what I'm
all
saying?
those
Just
things.
appreciate, embrace it, take it all in.
You're doing it. You
Good
might as
to-
well have fun.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly.
The good, the
Exactly.
bad, the null, the numb,
Yeah.
whatever, bro, whatever it is, just enjoy the process.
Yeah. And if you're so focused on the end goal, then it's almost like you'll probably discourage yourself because the goal is so far away.
Yeah.
For real.
yeah.
But if you're just actually enjoying the process, you're probably gonna get to it quicker. Because
Trust.
you
Yeah.
kind of like you focus on the micro level, and the macro level is always there, but in the background, right?
Yeah.
Like you're like slowly like filling in that puzzle rather than being focused on that final puzzle. It's just like one piece at a time,
Trust
Exactly.
and
People-
eventually everything will fall into
people be
place.
talking about like, yo, where do you see yourself in about 2 years? Nah. And I hear answers like, I'm gonna be in a mansion, I'm gonna be all that. Yo, that's cool. Do that. Believe in that. Right, I'm just trying to get my EP out by the summer. You know, like, I'm just trying to get my EP out by the summer. Maybe in 6 months' time, 3 music videos, if I'm God willing. You know, I just enjoy what you got right now. Enjoy what you got.
And
right
also
now.
like planning too far ahead. It's good to have a vision, but too specific, too far ahead is not healthy. Like we had a
Nah.
Q&A episode last time we shot, and it was like questions of like, how do you see like the NSL brand in 10 years? It's like only God knows, man. Because we didn't know. We started this 3 years ago, and like we just were having fun with it. And it's like we didn't think like, oh, in 3 years we're gonna start a podcast in Drew's basement. Like, you know, it's just
No,
like you
yeah.
go with the flow and you adjust, and you just
Exactly.
keep on like. So it's kind of hard to answer those kind of questions. So if you're that specific on your vision, not that it's bad, but it's also like maybe you're closed-minding yourself
Yeah.
long term, right? It's good to be
Of cou-
open-minded.
Of course, set out a plan. You know, set out
Yeah,
a plan.
exactly,
Set out
exactly.
something nice. You know, but once you set that whole schematic up, to a sense, yo, take that first step and just concentrate on step 1, bro.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like small deeds are more important than just thinking and planning out a grand
Yeah.
deed. You know,
you know,
I
more
exactly.
effective.
Yeah.
You know, just yeah, get the bigger picture out there, but yo, just concentrate and take that small detail out.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to niche back into maybe performances. So I know we touched on it a bit. There's one small question I want to get into, and then another one in regards to performing. So number one, I know I kind of spoke on this, but let's give it another shot. When you guys are booking, when you're like, okay, we have an event coming up in a couple months, it's time to make like the list of artists we're trying to get. I think it would be educational for these guys. What are the main criteria or factors or things that like influence you or encourage you to pick certain individuals when you're booking a show? I think that would be very, very valuable if you could give that.
So first, it's like I feel like it depends on like if the artist is good. Like we really like we listen to their music. If we fuck with them, we fuck with them. Can they sell tickets?
Yeah.
Do they already have a fan base? What else do you really look into?
I think diversity and
That too.
them being unique. You know what I
That
mean? Like
too.
I feel like a lot of the shows that we see in Montreal, the artists, it literally seems like the lineup is random. So not necessarily in a bad way, but it just seems like it's very random and it's just everyone performing is just literally handpicked out of a
Yeah.
hat, like blindly. You know what I mean? But we try to, I feel like, kind of go in a perspective of, okay, how can we do something different than what people are used to seeing, you know?
Yeah.
Like for example, our last show, it was the lineup was only there's 5 people, including you, Drew.
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah,
very
yes, sir. Thank you.
diverse.
Thank
You
you
know
for
what I
that.
mean? Like we
My
had,
boy killed it, yo. My boy.
shout out to Drew. You know?
Madness.
Amazing,
Thank
you
you,
know.
thank
But
you.
we just
Appreciate
really
you.
try to diversify the artists that we get, so it's really, especially we think of it in the audience perspective also.
Mhm.
Like we don't want to just do a show for the artist. I mean, of course we do, but the audience, like,
Right.
are they gonna enjoy it? You know,
Yeah.
is it gonna be something that
Exactly.
they say, okay, this is just like every other show I've been to?
Yeah.
Or they're gonna be like, no, this is the best show I've been to yet. I'm gonna come to the next
Yeah,
one. You know?
diversity is definitely important because
Yes.
you don't want like an act to just finish, then another act comes in, then it sounds like the exact same shit that previous guy was
Yeah.
doing. You know,
Good point.
Exactly.
do not want that. So
Ever.
diversity is definitely
I
important
feel,
for us.
I feel as well like when choosing a lineup, choose artists that complement each other.
Yeah.
You know, that's I feel that's mainly what we like to do when we're choosing our lineups. Like, all right, let's say for example, let's keep this one. But who's gonna help boost this person later on in the show? How is
Yeah.
that gonna fluctuate
Dope,
the
yeah.
the
For
whole
sure.
vibe of the show? Because you know it's all about crowd control at the end of the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like we plan the shows. We don't just plan, okay, we have 5 artists coming in, that's it. Like we plan, we'll sit down, have a meeting
Yeah.
and be like, okay, guys, who do you think is the best opener? Okay, and why? Okay, and this is
Yeah.
the second person,
Legit,
why? And
legit.
who's after the intermission? All these factors
It's like
are
a
essential.
it's like a 4-day process.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
It's
I
not
feel
no
like the
joke.
show itself is something that's more of like it's like a whole piece of art. It's not just okay, KingBlock featuring. It's like no, everyone's part of the show and the family.
That's
Like
dope.
when we perform, it's it's an entire show. Like it's not. There's no separate aspects. Everything is just all in one.
I understand
know
that.
what I mean?
It's
Yeah.
kind of like listening to an album in like a one sequence, right? It's like you digest it all together rather than like
Exactly.
slice it up. Right?
Exactly.
That's dope.
Uh,
And you feel it when you're there. I think I felt it when I was there at the event. Like it does feel like like a family thing or like a continuous thing, right? Even though it
Yeah.
is different styles, different languages, whatever in the music itself, but still there's like a common factor that you just feel.
It all connected. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sound good one after the other. That's mainly
Yeah.
what. Like we
Exactly.
would legit listen to people's sets and be like, okay, nah, yeah, he's ending with this song, so we can't make the other person start because it's gonna sound weird. Like
yeah,
we'd
yeah.
put these little things
Yeah.
into consideration, you know.
That's why artists, please, when event organizers ask for you to drop their songs at a certain date, please do. Please
Yeah.
do. Because it's not just it's really not for us, it's really for y'all. It's
Yeah.
really to best like fit y'all into the show as best as possible.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's something that also when we plan events, we learn from our past events as well. Like we see how people's behaviors are, and we see how
Yeah.
if what their attitude is. You know,
Know
we
who you're
see-
working with.
Yeah,
Real
know
shit. Know who
exactly.
you're working with.
You know what I mean? If we see that people are not professional with us, then that
You
decides.
won't do it again, right?
Yeah, you know,
No,
that's a
yeah.
factor as well in deciding if we're gonna do it again or not. Exactly, man. You know, so-
And sadly as well, like I kind of do want to bring reality to factor. Like you could have great talent, we could have great chemistry, but in certain cases, business is business, man.
Yeah.
You can't sell tickets. I'm sorry, bruh.
Yeah.
Sorry, bruh. And it's sad. It's sad because like you really want to see this person thrive, and you really want to help this person, you know, get to that point. And yeah, we offer the platform to do so. We offer, you know, so many ways to get access to that. But in terms of coming up, as we all are, one hand washes the other in a sense.
for sure.
You know? So if you can't do that, unfortunately, not gonna
sure.
get booked the year after that.
And
you
I
know?
feel like in a way that kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about social media presence and basically having that fan base, right?
Yeah.
Because when you can build the fan base, I feel like that will really secure an audience for you at the show. Not to say that that's like everyone necessarily will come to the show, but obviously that's how you increase your chances, right? And make sure that you can actually eventually secure somewhat of an audience.
Well, that's a big challenge too, man. Like converting those like followers and fans into someone who's actually gonna go spend their own money on like coming to see you. And especially in the generation we're at now, where it's like they could just stream you on Spotify, bro, or they could go like if you vlogged your previous show, they could just go watch that.
Straight up.
You know what I mean? Like why? Like I live streamed on TikTok my performance. So why make yourself go out the way to go to Belmont to then buy a ticket to this and that? Like people are lazy and just so used to just being the convenience of pulling
Yeah.
out the phone. No, but we
Everything
gotta
is
be real
digital,
with
though,
it.
for real, no, for real though.
Like if you see it, like my following is online is really engaged and like pretty getting big.
trust.
But to get people out there to actually go stand in line and buy a ticket is a different game.
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
So that's what's getting, I think, more and more challenging with our generation.
Yeah.
Just because it's like,
I feel like that's more in entertainment. That's more of an entertainment aspect, you know, like you yourself as an artist, you're probably do music, but at the end of the day, you're an entertainer, right? How are you gonna bring that aspect of you and the entertainment together?
Right.
See, and comes back to what we were saying, balance, right? It's hard to deviate to make sure that, you know, you got this on lock and you could also do this to get on lock, right?
yeah. Okay, so still on performances, this is something that Tajiz and I were talking about after the show too. And actually, we might have talked, I don't remember, maybe. But anyways, when it comes to performances, there's different kind of like performance types, right? Like when I went on stage, I was opening, and the whole goal, I think, why you guys put me first is because I just bring energy, right?
Yes.
Now, I noticed definitely that every performer has their X factor, what makes them them, and every style is respected just in different ways. Now, what I mean by that is, what do you guys think the most important aspect is when you're actually performing for any artist listening? Because me, and this is not necessarily correct, but this is how I've always seen it, is that if someone's going to listen to my music on Spotify, right, they're just going to hear like the raw version, like they're just going to listen to the song how it's supposed to be made when you're listening to it, wherever you're listening to it.
Mm.
But when you're in person, I always thought like I won't be that guy that's gonna go on stage and just sing it properly and hit every note and stand there and sound like Adele or Justin Bieber sounding perfect and not missing a
100%.
key. I don't care for that personally because I feel like when I'm up on there that stage, it's more like I'm almost hyping myself up. I'm almost my own hype man, like hyping up the backtrack that's the real song. I'm missing every note and I'm yelling the whole time, but I feel like that's my performance style. Not to bash any other performance style, but that's just something like me as like it just reflects my personality, right? Like I just like to get to know the crowd. I interact. You guys noticed I speak way more than I even sing. Between every song, I just don't stop talking. But which could be problematic, I guess.
Oh no, it's great.
But
It's great.
Amazing.
that's what Tajiz and I were saying. Like it's a whole different game when you have a good, like you could have great music and a good catalog, but you need to pick one style of performance types. Also, obviously, you contextualize yourself. So let's say I was doing that show where it was more of a party environment versus I'm going to perform at like something that's more like a corporate event or something, then yeah, okay, I'm not going to yell around and jump around like I was doing. So you do need to contextualize yourself. But I don't know what you guys think on this, but is this something you consider when you book your artist, like what kind of performer they are? Like, you've seen me perform before, so you know I wasn't going up on that stage and singing and hitting every note of Alone and all that, right?
Sure, for sure.
So is that something that you guys also consider when you're booking your lineup? And also, what kind of performance style do you guys think is actually more important? To actually make a new fan in that crowd that's never heard of you before? What kind of performance style do you think is actually the most beneficial?
To answer the first question, we heavily do like consider like not only do we want talent and energy, but it has to be consistent. Feel me? At least when we're having a meeting, that's my opinion. That's mainly my opinion. They need to have consistency throughout their whole set. You know what I'm saying? Like, sure, you can miss a note, sure you could do that, but like, how well are you covering that? How well are you making it seem like it's supposed to be like that? How well are you really selling yourself out to a sense?
Yeah, I feel like stage presence definitely matters a lot. That is key when you're performing, and just knowing how to connect with the people who came to see you, knowing how to connect with even like the new people that don't even know about you, knowing how to connect to them too.
Which I think is the most important part.
It's
Because
super
that's where you're going to
important.
make a new fan. The
Yeah.
people that are there to watch you, they're there to
That's-
watch you. They'll probably like it regardless.
Yeah,
But to
exactly,
make that
yeah.
new fan, I
And
think,
as
yeah.
and as like as someone that would just view that's viewing you on stage, right? As someone part of the audience, I want to see something that could that I'll remember. You know, like just
Yeah.
out it could even be like a slight fumble. If you were able to cover that shit up right afterwards, dude, I'm gonna remember that for like
Yeah.
the next few days, the next few weeks, you know?
Trust.
Like it's all about how well how clean you could make yourself look like even in the worst of scenarios.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
like what Cass said about the connection
Yeah,
with the audience.
connecting with the
Mm.
crowd. Yeah,
If you can connect with the crowd, that's everything. And I feel like there's various ways to do that. Like it doesn't necessarily you could connect with the crowd by having a really good song or you're a really good singer. And then just people will immediately be in a trance from hearing your voice. But you can also more like maybe in Drew's perspective where you actually talk to the audience and you talk about, relatable topics and experiences and you leave them on a note where okay, like I remember what he said and I'm gonna hold on to what he said, you know what I mean? So in that case, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to hit every note or whatever. It's really about connecting with the audience. Obviously, a balance is important because someone can't go up there and literally, put on a good, like, let's say they give it like a nice speech to the audience and then they don't hit any of the notes. Like obviously, that's at the same time, it's a conflict, right? But it's really about a balance, in my opinion. Like a balance of leaving something that they can remember, but at the same time, quality, right? Pretty much.
Hey, yo, when y'all edit this, just make sure word of the day, balance.
Yo, I was thinking the same thing, bro.
We keep saying that.
I swear.
Yeah.
Where did
I
they-
also feel like
balance.
a mistake that a lot of new artists make is when they perform for like the first times, they tend to like what you call that? I just had a brain fart right there. They tend to not talk to the crowd. Like they get like
Okay.
all the superstar
Interactive.
mindset, and they're like, oh no, these are just people, you know. So like I encourage you to just talk to your people. They came to see you, you know.
Yeah.
So
I
talk to
think
your
I could be
peoples.
wrong, but I think most people that have a hard time crowd interacting is because they're like shy.
Yeah, they don't know what to say.
They don't
For
know what to
sure.
say, so they're just like, okay, next song, right?
These
For
guys
sure.
came to see you. You have to know what to say.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's really practice. Like the
Yeah.
more you do it, like especially me, like I used to not be able to talk to the crowd at all. I would do exactly that. You
Yeah.
know? But now I'm more comfortable with, engaging and trying to actually have a conversation with them. You know what I mean? So it's just practice. Once you do it, once you force
True.
yourself, take that step and be like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. And it'll be easier
Yeah.
moving forward.
Practice is key. You're right.
Yeah.
You bring out good points that you could find that I can't remember exactly how you worded it, but like that factor that'll like stick in people's heads, you could find in different lanes.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to how you are as a person, like what your personality is. You can't think too like you could push boundaries like to eventually practicing it comfortable, but at the same time, foundationally, everyone's a bit different.
Yeah.
And so like if you're more like he goes up there and he sings like really well.
Oh, he's
You know?
I appreciate that.
And that does leave like a damn, like that guy could really like bring it. But just everyone has that different kind of like lane that I guess they mastered a bit more than everyone else. And I guess as an upcoming artist, that's what you should be self-aware of, like where your strengths are.
Yeah,
in
use
that
your
regard.
strengths for real.
Yeah, and just double down. Obviously, practice those other elements you're maybe weaker at to at
Yeah.
least be decent at everything.
Yeah.
But that one X factor you have, you definitely should take
Amplify
advantage
that
of.
shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, trust,
Double
trust,
down
trust,
on it.
trust.
Yeah. What did you say? Yeah, I'll cut that out so you don't get canceled.
I'm dead, bro. This guy's not blessed, bro.
Okay, so let's get back into it. So back in regards to event planning. So let's say hypothetically someone who's listening, or even me, if tomorrow morning I was like, yo, you know what? I'm down to host or organize an event at whatever venue and have artists come through, kind of like similar to how you guys structure it. What's my first step? Someone who has no idea how the whole industry works, what would be our first steps to actually make those procedures happen?
Send an email.
Yeah, for real. For real, though. Send an email. What's your budget? There's a lot that goes into it. You want to take
Yeah,
I'd say
I would love
first
to
and
deep dive
foremost-
into it if you guys want
Yeah.
to talk about
First and foremost, I'd say find out what your expenses are going to be.
Yeah, the budget.
Find out all of your expenses, because that's when you're like
it. Which
think
like
about
what would that
think-
consist of though? Like
think
some
about,
expensive we wouldn't think of.
us, because certain venues, let's say they provide microphones, right? But most of the times they're already used up, beat up, and their shit, right? So at least with us at KingBlock, what we did since like day one basically is go out and rent mics.
Yeah.
Okay. Then have a DJ to do the playback, right? Because true say, buying on the venue sound engineer is not the greatest at all. It's not the good move. It's not the good move. So
Nope.
get yourself a DJ. Try to find yourself a DJ decent enough to actually spin some records.
Yep.
After you do so, go talk to Sky. Let us know.
For real,
I like
though.
that, I like that. No, honestly, like I feel like what you were saying is pretty accurate. Like first you have, I mean, like we're guilty of not always doing this,
Yeah.
but from experience,
Yeah,
you want to know what your total budget is. Like how much are you willing to spend? How much are you able to spend, right? And then once you know that, you can start, making some calls. I mean, it's really not that hard to get the venue. It's more about, I mean, listen, if you want to do a show, just search up all the venues in Montreal, find their emails, and send them an email and tell them what you want to do.
Or in whichever city you're in.
Yeah, exactly. Whichever city you're in, But the truth is, that's the easy part. Getting them to actually say, okay, we have availability for this time you want. Because most people are going to be like, okay, I want to, like, right now, let's say someone said, I want to do an event. Guessing you're probably going to want to do an event in July or August. But imagine how many other people want to do an event in July and August.
Yeah, so
know what I
how
mean?
far in advance do you guys start planning your stuff? Because it's not like a 1 week kind of thing. So like when
like 2 months maybe.
Yeah, ideally it would be 2 months, but
Yeah.
it's hard because sometimes like, I mean, I feel like you need 2 months to really put on a proper show and like set everything up efficiently, but you have to think even more in advance because of the factors like there's other people trying to rent the venue and there's if these venues are popular, like there's gonna be
Yeah,
mad
definitely.
people trying to get your spot, basically, you know. So it's like if you can find a way to think far in advance. Okay, like example, let's say right now, say okay, next summer I want to do X amount of shows. It'll be a lot more doable because you already have that plan in your mind. You can even, I mean, I don't know if that would be too far in advance, but you can even start hitting up venues like now, you know what I mean? About far in the future. I mean, maybe like a whole year is a little much. You know, if we're talking like, instead of hitting them up about, okay, I want to do a show in a month or 2 months, you can plan it like, okay, I want to do a show in 5 months, 6 months.
Yeah.
And the venue will likely have availability. And you can actually get, you know, something in the summer, which is probably the best. You know, like I know right now a lot of venues are for sure going to be booked until like fall.
Yeah.
You know, until like
yeah.
Yeah.
September, October.
Yeah. Especially here where seasonality is big. Like
Yeah.
here, winter hits. You know,
It
It's
hits,
not just
you know?
like
Yeah, yeah,
And it's just like everything's booked up, you know. So find your expenses, find out your total budget, what you know, how much money you want to put in. Start contacting venues, see what their availability is, see what their pricing is. And then when you find something that works for you, then you can really, okay, this is what I'm going for. Also keep in mind that a lot of the expenses can be paid for ticket sales, but that's another factor in
Yeah.
itself, you know. You
But
just
that's-
gotta, yeah.
That's something that you're gonna have to quote unquote predict and take a chance on.
Right.
Yeah.
Feel me? Because anything could go sideways. So regardless, make sure that you budget whatever you need to budget first, whatever your expense, and then in terms of ticket sales or however you're running the event, try to make your margin off. Try to make your profit off of that.
For sure. And don't expect like getting the venue, getting a show is not the hard part. It's about actually executing a good show. That's
Yeah.
the hard part.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Everyone is so hesitant or reluctant to take that first step of, oh, how do I get I mean, send an email. Like I said,
Yeah,
it
legit.
sounded funny, but you send an email. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That's the first step. But really think about the next step about, okay, when I get the venue, how am I actually gonna do this? If I'm gonna put on an event, can I secure, you know, can I fill up the venue on my own? If I bring guest artists, do I know who to bring, who I can guarantee are gonna sell tickets? Like all these factors, you really have to think
Yeah.
about what could go wrong, what could go right, and just how you're gonna make the most out of the event. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's why sometimes it's hard to be the organizer, you know, but that's just part of
It's
doing it.
definitely a big risk that
Yeah.
we're taking every time we do a show.
Yeah.
That's basically what we feel.
The more you do it, I guess the less the risk becomes because
Yeah.
people start to know you and, oh, okay, these guys, they put on shows, like I know them, so I'll
Yeah.
come see them. You know,
Yeah, because
But
you have like a credibility, reputation, all that good
Yeah.
stuff comes
to
with it,
get
yeah.
that, you have to
My
start
best-
somewhere, right?
My best advice, especially if you're trying to be an event planner at first, don't perform. Don't perform that day.
Mm.
Don't if you're an artist and you want to become an event planner for the first time, don't perform. Don't perform because you're already an artist. It's something in your bag, or that should be in your bag to a sense, right? You know your music, you know how you would perform. You don't know how the others are gonna perform. You don't know the hiccups that you might have to experience in terms of technical difficulties, right? That's another factor too. You gotta really, like, once you get to the venue, once it's show day, make sure you communicate with your sound engineer, with your sound technician to the T. To the T. Make sure as well that your artists are there for sound check because that is very important. Again, it's a lot more difficult to have a good sounding show, to have something concrete, to have something that people could remember than actually getting to have the show up.
Yeah.
You know, anyone could hit up a freaking graphic designer for flyers. Anybody could hit up any venue for a
That's
spot,
true.
right?
Yeah.
Artists, there's by abundance. It's this day and age, man. You can find an artist at the corner of your street.
Mhm.
You know, it's really about making sure that technically have something sounding good, have something that's receiving well, and that your DJ's in sync. That your artists as well are in sync with the flow of the whole show.
Sure.
Did you
gotta
guys ever have issues with artists that are like, I'm sure you have because just getting features from artists sometimes impossible, but like getting late, missing sound check, like all these kind of things, missing their gigs. Like, did it get bad at any point or?
Yes.
Yeah, they get really bad.
Yo.
Yeah.
So in those situations, like, what do you do? How do you improvise? Like, yo, like, let's say hypothetically I didn't show up. Like, what happened?
You
You
go
just
through
go with it?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
you
I
have no
mean-
choice. You cannot go back. There's no such thing. You just go ahead and go through it. If you
Yeah.
end up coming after sound check, yo, I'm letting you know, all right, you're not getting no sound check, but you're still there, da 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 da.
Sure.
You know, you're still there, and I'm sorry if you put up a shitty show. You put up a shitty show. No one's gonna remember you, and everyone's gonna remember everyone else.
This is mostly for
Your
them,
fault,
you know?
right?
It's for
It's
you,
your
you know?
fault.
Yeah.
And if
Your
someone
fault.
like just
I'm
doesn't
brooding.
show up, like, I mean, we're not gonna say, okay, this guy's not showing up or
Thank
stopping
God.
the show. You know,
Thankfully, that has never happened to us so far.
Luckily,
We haven't had like nobody stoop that low towards us, but that ever happened, man. Oh,
Well, that's
Yeah.
also because you guys pick wisely who you're
Yeah, of
selecting
course,
for
yeah.
the
Even
for
at
the
that
shows.
opportunity lost for them, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely,
For sure.
absolutely.
yeah.
And I
Good
feel
dope.
like one more thing to add.
Go ahead.
I really feel like event planning is something that's super hard to do, especially if you're an artist. Like us now, I mean, we're kind of, it's a weird situation for us because we've done it so many times and we've really learned from our mistakes and we notice the mistakes that other people in our city make. And we really, not to put anyone down, but when we see something, okay, let's not do that. You know what I mean? We're like, okay, we really try to learn from our experiences
Okay.
and the people around us too, you know?
You know,
But, go ahead.
go ahead.
No, so I was gonna say, like, I really feel like it is hard to do both, like to be an artist and an event planner. So,
I know.
you know what I mean?
can,
That's
I
why,
can
like,
only imagine.
And it
I
comes-
don't know, but I can only imagine.
And it
yeah.
comes back to like the first topic, right? Like, did pay to play. You
Yeah.
know, that's as much as like, yo, in my biased opinion, it's a fucking scam. Dude, that's an investment. As much as it is a scam, it's an investment towards learning, towards understanding as well. You
I
know,
agree.
if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't know how to uh, plan events.
yeah,
Dude, I don't know if you remember, but remember when we used to not we watched more of shout out Talent Nation, my Goldfarb's movements more than any artist or performer there. We
Yeah,
watched his movements as like how he organized the show. We were so mad because we were wondering why the hell are we paying so much? Why are we doing this?
yeah,
To the point that, you know, we actually I guess unwillingly studied him.
yeah.
Like
And
then
we were
from-
basically like, okay, we can do this too.
exactly.
Like,
We could
if he can do this, why can't
why
we?
can't
do
we
it, you know?
just and then boom
Yeah.
from there. Like we
Yeah.
just took those lessons and just brought
Yeah.
it there. So
Yeah, I would say like artists, like don't hesitate to take whatever opportunity you can get, but don't let that make you like, okay, I can only find pay to play, so I'm never gonna perform. I mean, like, just network, like you were saying earlier, network, make as many connections as you can, try to find other people who put on shows that you can be a part of. Because I 100% guarantee not everyone is pay to play, and not everyone has the same intentions or way about going about things. So just make connections, look into people, see how they do things, what their reputation is, and yeah, that's definitely somewhere good to start. Don't try to go from like ground zero to like, okay, event planning, like that's
Yeah.
super tough.
Yeah.
Not
It's not
recommended.
gonna work.
Yeah. Okay. So last topic here before we get into Dusty's beat. More about you guys' music more individually rather than just event planning and all that good stuff. It's great for knowledge, but more in regards to your business, to your music. Sorry. So hypothetically, you guys are a movement, you guys are a team, but as we keep saying, you guys are individual artists, right? So in a hypothetical scenario, I'm curious what you guys' response to this. If you guys have considered this, talked about this, whatever. Let's say hypothetically Sky blows up tomorrow night or Kaz blows up tomorrow night, whatever it is, right? How do you guys move forward? Does KingBlock remain? Like, let's say you get approached by a bunch of labels, and you're kind of flirting with the idea of going that way. Have you guys ever had these conversations that what if, since you have that umbrella, but individually you still have your own lanes? So what would happen in a hypothetical? I would assume since you guys are friends, you would go together. But what does that mean? Meaning, like, do you tell the label like, no, I'm bringing my 12 boys with me? Like what is
yeah.
the?
Yo, I'm sorry.
I'm very curious if you guys have had these conversations and if what that would look like if that were to happen. It's very possible, obviously, right?
We definitely had those conversations, but I think we choose not to think too much about it.
Yeah.
I think we
You'll
choose
just
not to
deal
think
with it
too
when
much
it
about it
happens,
because like
basically.
KingBlock Entertainment is a label. Technically, we're already signed to ourselves. Why the hell we need someone else? If anything, all we want to chase for, or at least what I would like for us to chase for, to definitely bring us on a upper scale, distribution deal. You're coming to us and you're not talking distribution. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I'm not gonna sign myself to nobody for nothing. I want to have my rights, my percentage, and all I want is people to just bring it out for us. Fuck that. You guys handle the marketing. I want us to chill well with our name, in our proper fucking.
And does
fashion.
everyone share that vision in your whole team though? Because that's a big factor.
I feel like we'll both give an answer.
Yeah,
I
go ahead, go ahead.
I feel like for me and my perspective, it's like if one of us were to blow up like that, I feel like we maybe would change the way that we like maybe we would change our vision or the way that we're what we're aiming for. But I don't think that we would say, okay, like you're gonna go up, like let's say it were me, I'm not gonna say, okay, bye KingBlock. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say, okay, let's change how we're moving, and we're still gonna, this is still the squad.
Yeah.
This is
Exactly.
still the family.
Right.
If one of us blows up, even if that person who blows up may be the face, it's not gonna stop us from being like, okay,
But
like yeah,
low key, if you guys think about it, let's say if one of you guys gets signed tomorrow or something, you barely need to use any of the money that they give. We barely need to use it, but we have our own studio. We have our own.
Yeah.
We could hit up like our own videographers for the low. We do this, da. Be a steal, but at the same time, how much are you willing to
We
give?
already
out?
pretty much have everything the label would provide for us
To a sense,
in a way. Yeah.
to a sense. So, you know, we're really concentrated on like, in taking independent to another level. Let's
I
say.
like that.
like
That's dope.
sticking to it. Like we would love to glue to it, but if one of us still goes ahead and blows up, like it's no hard feelings, nothing. Like yo, let's continue.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. Still in it together. Yeah, sure. You go be the face for us, so then we could
Yeah,
Have a face for ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like,
like
let's-
that. I like
you know,
that.
there's a
Yeah.
lasso. It's a lasso.
Yeah.
Just swing it around, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
we
that.
might be a music collective, but we move like a record label.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Dope.
feel like that's the reason that one of our main specialties is the fact that we do music together and we do music individually.
Yeah.
Because moving like that, I feel like it really allows, like even right now, let's say one of us has more streams or is more popular than another one of us. It's like we try to all bounce off of each other like that. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like let's say you drop a song, you're getting traction. Okay, now let me drop something. We do a collab. Okay, now they associate us with each other. Now a group song, now everyone's associated. Like
Yeah.
we move in a sense of not like your typical group where it's like, okay, every time something drops, it's like, okay, everyone is either coming up together or no one's moving like at
Yeah.
all like that, The way that we do it is I feel like we figure out ways to move all the way up together and then also to move individually. So it's like it doesn't really hinder our individual careers by moving
Yeah.
together. You know what
Okay.
I mean?
So last question, because I know we're running low on time, but on that. So as you move individually, but overall collective. So back to your music. You guys make very different kind of music, like all types of vibes coming from KingBlock. When you guys do your music, your creative process as individuals, does it still remain a team dynamic or effort? Whereas like you all record together. If Kaz is trying to record a new single, let's say, does he still come in with you guys and you guys plan it out, roll it out, record it and all that together? Or is it just like Kaz does his own thing and then he's like, yo, I'm putting out a track? Like how does that work in regards to the creative process since you guys' music is so different? I'm curious 'cause I know you guys got a studio. I know you also have a home studio
Yeah.
and all this. So what are those dynamics
I feel like with the group tracks, we definitely all do work together. We all put our ideas and our different like flavors to it. But when it comes to individual tracks, I guess all of us prefer working alone.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
something that I feel like by nature, we prefer working alone,
Yeah.
but we're starting to get into the habit of more like presenting it to each other. And
Yeah.
like, okay, what do you think? What can you add? What can we?
Yeah,
type
we have
thing,
meetings every week and like we just show each other like what we made and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so you're
Yeah.
still up to date with like what's
Yeah, of
going
course.
We still
on.
know,
All
we
the
still know
time.
what we're all working on individually, like all together. But in terms of ethically working it, God, I'll wait till Sunday to show it to you.
Okay.
Sometimes we are, when it comes to our solo stuff, we're definitely more comfortable, like by nature. Like I said, we're more comfortable doing it like on our
Yeah.
own. But like now we're really starting to get into that headspace of, okay, like how can we help each other on our solo stuff as well? Because obviously that takes time. It takes practice
Exactly.
to really like just to accept constructive criticism and be like, okay, no,
Yeah.
maybe I should listen to that. Maybe I should change up my whatever I have in mind. My vision will go the other way.
Yes.
Whatever it may be,
Yeah.
Those thing, yeah.
I guess since the music is very different too, it's like another layer of like you guys were all doing something very similar. It would probably be easier to just all do it together kind of thing. But since it's so different, it's tough.
Yeah.
True.
Real quick, shout out Icy Heart Records. They're KingBlock Entertainment's collaborators. They've been helping us out with cooking a lot of our songs lately, and that we're gonna be dropping soon. So I just want to give a heartwarming shout out to the boys.
Sir, shout out to
Sir.
IC.
Quick,
Shout
real
out,
quick.
shout
Okay,
out.
so you guys, plug yourselves too, like where we can find you, like what kind of music you do, where we can find you, and then each take a turn.
Yo, I go by the name of Kaz Montano. That's KazMontano. You can find me on Instagram, just at Kaz Montano. I make R&B music. I make like pretty much everything, like dancehall, R&B. And yo, if you fuck with me, you fuck with me.
Anything with a melody, this guy got.
And for me, I'm Sky Double R. You could find me on Instagram at sky.double.r at Instagram. And yeah, you know, I do a mix of different genres. I feel like I focus mainly on R&B. Right now, I don't have too much out, but there's gonna be a lot coming real soon. So you know, stay tuned, follow me, and yeah, it's gonna be great.
I go by the name of quote-E, quote King quote, the undisputed, Mr. Magic, Suavecito.
You want to talk about Pokeballs again? Or?
Yes. But I make rap music mainly. I produce as well most of my beats alongside, as you know, as I mentioned, our boys at Icy Heart Records, and with our personal engineer JM Business. Shout out Joseph, who couldn't be here today. But mainly focus on rapping. I'm a lyricist. I'm a host, beat maker. What else do I do?
Everything.
That's pretty much a whole. You guys can find me on Instagram at king_quote0, or you guys can also follow me on Twitter at quote E55.
And overall, as a unit, KingBlock Entertainment is the whole movement. If you guys have questions, just DM them on IG.
Yeah,
if you guys have questions on
At
event planning or whatever, I'm sure
ENT.
KingBlock ENT.
yeah, it'd be their pleasure to give you game on that.
And one more thing, he's not here today actually, but we have one more artist, that's Shy Dummy. So make sure to follow Shy Dummy.
Yes.
Shy.dummy on Instagram.
Yes.
Super dope also. For
I wish we had him, but next time.
Yeah.
It's hard to get so many people down here.
Okay.
Right? So shout out Zan back there too.
Yo,
Much
shout out
love,
Zan,
brother.
Zan, come
Yeah, come say what's up, Zan.
Say what's up. You feel me?
Yeah. Zan's the man behind the camera. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Love.
So we'll get Dusty and he's gonna take my spot. So they were cooking up a beat before. Bean had to go, but Dusty's here. He's
You know
a bit
what's crazy?
hungover. Dusty's
You're
a
like
bit
the
hungover,
cleanest
so just go
dusty
with it.
nigga I know.
What?
I mean, the man's name's Dusty, but look how clean the guy is,
Yo,
bro.
for real.
He goes against his name. It was a great conversation, fellas, for real.
Yeah,
Yo,
man.
Thanks for having us, for real.
Yeah,
for real.
definitely.
No,
Yeah,
shout out,
appreciate you.
shout out
Yeah.
NSL Drew, man. Shout out the whole NSL collective. Shout
Yes,
out
sir.
NSL Dusty, fam.
For real.
Much love. Yeah, so Dusty will take my spot. We'll connect to the speaker. Never stop laughing. Gang, let's get it.
Yes, sir.
Yo, you're the first one to
Nigga, my
actually
whole-
give us a voice, for real.
Bro,
Bro,
I swear,
You're the first
man.
one, bro.
Yo, respect Drew and Dusty and Bean.
Can't
Things
wait. I
being
can't
really
wait. I've been
nice.
waiting for this my whole life.
So long.
It's crazy because we always do this in the car.
For real, we're always in the car. We're always like,
Yeah, we always do this in the car, but you know,
hey.
Boom, boom.
first time in an actual setting, man. This is dope.
Yo.
we need Jacob. Shout out to Jacob. You guys don't know Jacob Flexer. He's our art director. He's very smart, you know, and he's a good freestyler, but he's not here today, so. Great
Yo,
freestyler.
he's actually not bad. He's actually not bad. You get him some Jaeger bombs and he's
Yeah, just a few Jaeger bombs and he's good.
Yeah.
You guys cooked this up in like 10
15
minutes.
15 minutes,
Whoa.
Shit, bro, what the hell?
crazy.
All right.
Yeah.
It's like 135 BPM.
Okay, okay.
Okay, that's my type of.
It's a classic, Evan. All right, boys, ready?
Let's go.
Here.
Let's do it. Play this bitch. Cool, start to stop.
Start. I gotta start it.
Yeah. I'll hop on the chorus.
Nah.
Verse 2.
Oh shit.
Okay, I didn't know we were doing that. All right.
Hey.
Yes, relax. Tell the shorty come back. Sitting out here on the couch. Waiting for me out, cause honestly, your nigga pockets way too fat now. I be killing all types of crowns. I be killing all types of rounds. So niggas ain't know that I be clowning. You fools, you think you're cool. Hey there, you're rude. Because I'm that dude. And now they can't stand me. And now they won't be me. Yeah. So now I got shorty. Yeah. And now I can pass to the homies.
I'm the one, yeah. You know I'm the one, you know I'm the one, you know I'm the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on my ones, you know I'm the one, you know I'm the one.
What?
Are you that? You know I'm the one, you know I'm the one.
Yeah.
Like I'm on my ones, know I'm the one, know I'm the.
Hey, we on the podcast. I need a top hat. Woo! You know that I got that. Shout out to Drew. Hey,
Let's go.
He making the brew. We cooking the brew, hey. I be so blue, hey. And I'ma get it. Then I go get it. See a trend and I said it. Get the flame and I said it, hey.
Why?
What? You know
What?
that I said it.
Said it.
Money I spend it.
Spend it.
I'ma go get it.
Hey.
I drop a record.
No, we the ones, ayy. No, we the ones, no, we the ones, yeah, we the ones,
What?
yeah, we the chosen ones, yeah, you know we the one,
One.
catch you on your ones, know I'm the one, know I'm the one, yeah.
No, I'm the one. Hey.
You know I'm the one. Know I got funds. You know I'm the one. You know I got funds. So short.
Okay.
Yes, I'm out here. I'm trying to go in. I'm out here just trying to go eat. Grab me some grub. Run, 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 run. This is what we do. This is what we do. You know what I'm saying? This KingBlock Entertainment for you, baby. Shout out the gang. Shout out NSL Drew, man. Shout out NSL Collective. Thank you so much for listening to our knowledge. I hope this reached out to somebody today.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And one more time, give it up to the squad, bro. Give it up to the squad.
Yeah. That was great. That was great. That was fun.
That's the vibes.
Crazy beat, by the way.
Yo, that was a sick beat, bro. Yo, we gotta work, bro.
Yo, shout out Dusty for the beat,
Yo, bro, that shit was sick, bro. Yo, what do you produce on, bro?
You know what I'm saying? We just made a whole track.
Produce on Logic? That's sick, bro. You know you're a pro,
produce on
bro.
Logic? Okay.
You guys are pro.